if you're here, it means you've watched part 1, episode 1, and scene 1 of Express Entry. And if you recall, we were at step 1 here. We were still looking at finding out if you are eligible. So this is the continuation, and so this is part 1, episode 1, scene 2 of finding out if you are eligible. So we will end the scene of episode 1 here. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. Here we're looking at language skills. I've been talking about this is an essential aspect of this immigration process because the maximum point here is 28, and it's very interesting because this is where many people get the points. If you look at the English language exam, which is the IELTS, and the French exam, which is the TCF, Test de connaissance du français, which is used for this program mostly, we equate it to a certain band because they all have their different levels. Let's see, the CLB, it is the Canadian language benchmark that is given to be able to assign you some points. So if you have the CLB level 9 or higher, it says if you have 6 points in speaking, listening, reading, and writing, then you have this point. Because the benchmark to pass is 7. The CLB wants you to have at least 7 to be able to, for some programs, to be able to consider successful, to have at least some points in the language skill program. So CLB level 7 would rather that you have 4 points in speaking, 4 points in listening, 4 points in reading, and 4 points in writing. Anything below that is not eligible. So in some areas, they will want you to have CLB 8, and some areas they want you to have CLB 9. So I will explain all of that in details maybe next time or soon. So let's jump to the next. We explained it in the last PowerPoint. CLB 7 gives you 4 points per ability, which is writing, reading, listening, and speaking. So if you have these points in IELTS, then you have 4 points per ability. If you multiply by 4, it gives you 16 points. If you have CLB level 8, which is the Canadian rating system, and you have, it translates to this number of points you have for English, it gives you 5. 5 times 4 modules or abilities, you have 20 points that you have. So somebody who has CLB level 9 and has these different results for IELTS will have pair the different results that he has 6 points, and the 6 points will multiply by 4, and it gives us 24 points, which is the maximum for English. So that is how it is rated. Anything above 10, CLB 10 is the maximum too. So having said this, let's jump to the next video. Now let's look at the second language. The second language, or if you are writing French as the first language, this is how it's also graded. TCF is the French equivalence for the exam in French. So the TCF, Test de connaissance du français, Canada, is the French language exam that you're writing to be able to gain your points if French is your first language. So if French is your first language and you've written this exam, then this is how it is graded. For your speaking ability, you need to have these results, 10 to 11. For your listening or comprehension orale, you need to have 459 to 502. Reading ability, you also have this number of points. Writing ability, you need to have this point to have 4, and then 4 multiplied by the 4 modules will also give you 16. So if you need to have that's the CLB, which is in French here, level 8, you'll need if you are within this range, you will have 5 points. If you multiply by 4, it gives you 20 points. If you have 9 and above, then you need to have 14 this plus plus, and you will have 6, which will give you a maximum of 24 points for French, if French is your first language. Now let's look at the adaptability, which is 10 points. What is it all about? Adaptability are points that you get from certain advantages of links with Canada. Your spouse or partner's level of language will give you 5 points. So selected above this, if you have any of these, you will have some points that will give you up to 10 points. So if your spouse has written language, the language exam, it could be just her principal language exam, and she has a good result, she can be able to have 5 points. If you passed your past studies in Canada, if you've ever studied in Canada, it gives you also 5 points. So if your spouse studied in Canada, if you have relatives in Canada and there are others, will combine to give you a maximum of 10 points. So that's the advantage for some people. If you do not have those points, it doesn't matter. You have a band that you need to pass. I told you 67, so you must not have all of this. Now, for you to migrate to Canada, you need to prove that you have enough money. For the federal skill program, it's always required. So you must show you have enough money to settle in Canada. And most of the time we'll look at it by clicking on this link. We will look at it further. You are currently able to legally work in Canada. It means you do not have certain vices that will block you from being able to work in Canada. That's what it means, criminal records or whatever. You must have a valid job offer. It's not a must. Some people may have, some people may not have, but it's a good point if you have. So that is it. So I was talking about proof of funds, how much money you'll need. This is the money you need when to prove when you start the process. And this money has to be proven up to when you're getting your visa. I need to emphasize on this. So for one person, number of family members, if you're alone, then the funds that you're required to prove as bank statement when you start your application is $12,960. As the family gets bigger to 2, it even goes to $16,135. And you have up to 7 family members that have traveled, you have to prove that you have $34,299. And for any additional family member, you need to add $3,492. It must be available from the time you start your application. So if you are interested, make sure this is respected. Thank you. So that brings us to the end of part 1 of this episode. So we will look at the next episode 2 in the next video. So you've seen that our video was too long for part 1. It was divided into different series, so or different segments. Hopefully this one will not be as long as that, but it is necessary because I need to give you all the info that is needed to present this show and make it easier for you. So if you have any comments, leave the comments below, ask questions, and I'll respond. If you actually need to have some kind of coaching, then contact me on my WhatsApp number and we will chat it on, and I will also put you into the WhatsApp group where many people ask questions and they can help you respond, and anyone can help you respond, or myself can help you respond, can help give an answer to your question. So having said this, I thank you for listening very much while waiting for episode 2. Stay blessed.